Sometimes it's helpful to understand how it works, and we've talked a lot about that. We've talked about the laws of physics, and that's not hard to understand. When something gains momentum, it's logical that it continues to move in the same direction of the momentum that it already has. And so it's about identifying that you don't like the feeling of that momentum, and then looking around if you can and finding something that you do like the feeling of. And then rather than trying to snuff out the darkness or snuff out the trauma, you get something else going that dominates in your experience. It really is about understanding that there are two ends to the stick. And this is the thing that we love so much about the experience or the subject or the experience or the subject of trauma. When it's really, 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 really big, bad, and awful and unwanted. Start again. A woman said to us on the Abraham Now broadcast a few weeks ago, Abraham, sometimes there is such grief in the room that it's like it's the only thing in the room. Sometimes trauma feels like it's the only thing that's in the room. And we said, that might be all you're realizing, but it's not the only thing in the room, because in this universe, when you really know what you don't want, you really know what you do want, and that's in the room too. Now, we don't disagree. It's hard not to look at the trauma because it's got the momentum going and it is calling you. But the knowledge that the other end of that stick is now, friends, that's the thing we so want you to hear. In the willingness to explore and discover the drastically unwanted, you create wanted big time like never before. That's in the room, and that's what you got to now figure out how to tune yourself to. Understanding the physics of the world in which you live and of the universe. That you don't carry it with you, you renew it with the next thought and the next thought. So something happens and you think about it, and then you remember it, and then you tell someone, and then they talk about it. And then, because you're still focused upon it, you find books about it, and then you realize there's other people that have thought about it. You see, it's the law of attraction. No matter what happened and no matter how wonderful or awful it was, if you don't revisit it and reconstitute the feeling within you, which is your point of attraction, which you then step into the field of attraction with that vibrational offering, it will cease to be, because you are the promoter of it, the promulgator of it, the creator of it, the continuator of it. And so the bigger question is, if you believe that, and we want you to because that's how it is, things don't keep going if you don't keep thinking about them. But you live in a world that is so fascinated with conversation about everything, and everybody's talking about everything all the time, that there are hooks into so many things until you really get into a clear space where you're not attracting that anymore. You don't release it, you activate something else. That's what we were saying to the dear woman that was in the seat for so long today. You can't get rid of it. I'm going to release you as you're still active about it. And so it keeps coming back. That's why it keeps staying vivid. Sometimes it becomes more vivid, more vivid, more vivid, because the more you live something unwanted, the more you ask for this, and the more you ask for this, then the more the absence of it feels like that. You have to care about the way you feel. And most people who keep trauma going are trying to explain themselves through it. They're trying to get somebody's attention about it. They're trying to get someone punished for it. They want to be right rather than feel good. And so they just keep gathering it and gathering it and gathering it and supporting it and supporting it and supporting it. It keeps coming and coming and coming and coming. But as life moves on, then it feels like more of a weird anomaly, which makes it more that you want to get rid of, more that you want to get rid of. Trauma is constantly renewed. It's constantly renewed. And if it weren't, it would cease to exist in your vibrational frequency. It would cease to exist, and it would cease to replicate itself in other ways. What we're getting at here is without an active point of attraction about it. So the bigger question is, how can I not think about what I'm thinking about? How can I not think about what I think about? I'm going to stop smoking. I'm not going to think about that anymore. Well, now you're thinking about that thing that you're not thinking about, and now you're thinking about it because more about it has come to you. This is the way the law of attraction is. It's like the law of gravity. It doesn't stop doing its gravity thing. And the law of attraction doesn't stop doing its attraction thing. So you have to see yourself new in every moment, presenting yourself anew in this segment to the law of attraction. How are you presenting yourself? As a victim of trauma or as an appreciator of that? Esther watched a television program. It was so interesting and she enjoyed it. It was a binge watcher kind of thing. She watched it for 6 hours in one day and finished it all. Hardly got out of her chair. It was interesting. It was fascinating. It was pretty people. It was interesting things. And it had trauma in it. It was about a person who looks for and finds missing people and things. And he was so cute. He reminds her of a friend. And so nice in the way that he spoke with people and not letting them, this is the character, not letting them put him down even though they were trying to stop him. He just kind of relaxed and kept going for what he wanted. And so there were many things about it that Esther really was enjoying. Not the chopping up of bodies and putting them in barrels and things like that. Not the danger stuff, but enough that it felt better than the boredom that she was experiencing before at first. And then, like our friend that just can't stop thinking about it, she sort of got hooked on it. Stay with us. Now, none of that is anything like Esther's life. And none of that is like anybody that she knows. She's never been up close to any of that, ever, ever, ever. The next day, her daughter called and said, if you try to reach me, I'm not answering my phone because I've been called for jury duty. And Esther said, okay. And then Esther forgot. And so she called her, and her daughter was at lunch, really enjoying the gardens around the place and how beautiful it was. She said, I'm playing tourist on the lunch break. And then in the middle of the conversation, she heard her daughter say, what? I'm sorry. And then she heard a voice say something. And then she heard her daughter say, well, yeah, I can help you. And then she wasn't on the phone anymore. And Esther thought, she's been abducted. I need to call that guy. Now, she didn't really think that, but it was the first time that Esther's even been close to a feeling like that. Well, why do you think that happened to Esther? She watched hours of that on television. She let the television move her to that feeling. She found herself hiding under the blanket sometimes and not watching and even muted it a few times. We know, you'd think she would be more enlightened. We know that. But what we're saying is that Esther activated something. Esther has not ever experienced trauma. But they did a good enough job of presenting enough of it. And she left herself focused upon it for a long enough period without putting anything else in the mix that seemed like the logical thing that had happened to her daughter. Because she doesn't just hang up on her mother, not usually. And she doesn't just stop in the middle of a conversation. It all added up. It added up perfectly. It just added up perfectly. And then Esther's trying to call her back. Well, it was a homeless person that had come up to her and asked her if she could help them find a shelter. She said yes. She got on the phone, tried to find out where the nearest one was. So she was trying to do some research on her phone, and every time her mother would call, she would just dismiss the call because the calls were getting in the way of what she was trying to do. Well, you know what that looked like to Esther. We're just saying to you that you cannot go very far down the road of focusing on what you keep it going. Well, that was really a good experience for Esther. Because she knew exactly, she could connect those dots exactly. Talk about blue glass feathers and butterflies. Trauma, chopped up bodies, and kidnapping. Oh my. You're powerful with your thoughts. You're powerful with your words. But you know what's powerful? How you feel. How you feel is powerful. So you watch stuff that is upsetting to you and you are upset. That equals your point of attraction. And it doesn't matter why, that equals your point of attraction. Because it's with you, and then you look over there and it's still with you, and you look over there and it's with you, and you do that, and it's with you, and you do that. Pretty soon it's not as much with you because you're doing that, and then it's a little with you, but it's not so much with you. The chemistry of your emotions just becomes more about that than about that. The process that we teach for this is look for easy existing matches. Used to be the book of positive aspects, but now we're saying look for easy existing matches, and the reason we say that is because your inner being has volumes of easy existing matches for you about what you want and no matches about what you don't want. And so as you're looking for easy existing matches, that means you're looking to feel good. And when you look to feel good, you find your inner being. And when you find that, now you have access to all of those things that your inner being knows about you. And so it shifts the chemistry of your emotional balance. It literally does. You can't think your way out of it. Because when you think your way out of it, the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, law of attraction responds to all of it. But when you feel your way out of it. All right, stay with us just for a little bit here. So this segment is about the usefulness of feeling your way to where you want to be rather than trying to think your way. Now, it's nitpicking, we know, because when you think a thought that feels good, you feel good. And when you think a thought that doesn't feel good, you don't feel good. But it's the cause and effect thing that we want you to take away from this gathering. When you find the feeling, whether it's presented to you in a movie or because somebody else has it going on strong, or doesn't matter how you find it, it's something beautiful that you see, it's something touching that you see. When you find the feeling, whether you reached for it yourself or whether you were just in the place where the timing of law of attraction delivered it to you in another way, doesn't matter. When you find the feeling, now thoughts, words, and things manifest to match it. Humans come into this body of work with somewhat of a flawed premise because they want something because they want to feel good. So they really associate, in order for me to feel good, I need that relationship, or I want that relationship. I want to be on Broadway even more than I want to be at the happiest place on earth. I want that because then I will feel happy. And we want to say, you can really keep that going if you wanted it and got it and then focused on it and then more and more and more and more comes. But we want you to feel that the more and more comes in response to the feeling. You think that you will create the thought and get the result, and then you will feel good. And that's why when you don't get the result that you want, like not getting the Broadway, and you've already quit your job at Disney, then you think that you can't be happy because what you wanted didn't happen. And that's backwards. You find the feeling place, and then it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It will happen. It will happen. It will happen. It defies law not to. But most of you have such a mixed bag of what you're thinking about that you're not demanding. You're not determined. You don't say what Jerry said, I give up the battle, the struggle, the trying to understand it, the trying to get somebody else to do something that they clearly don't want to do. I give up the impossible things. And he didn't know then. He got the goosebumps, he got the bubbles to show it. He didn't understand then that he gave up everything that was in the way. And what he wanted more than life itself came not that much longer in the form of his relationship with Esther. It comes to do with the laws of the universe that you can implement anytime you want. But you gotta care about how you feel. You gotta want to feel like your inner being feels.